I never thought I'd admit this, but here it is. I felt more alone as a husband than I ever did as a single man. My name's Ryan, 36 years old, and I run a fitness center in Phoenix, Arizona. I've been there over a decade. Not as a life coach or social media personality, just a guy helping people move better, feel stronger, and push through their everyday. That's always been my thing. Fixing stuff, bodies, schedules, moods, but I couldn't fix my marriage. I met Lena at a friend's birthday barbecue back in 2015. She had this clever spark, sharp wit, and a dry charm that made you want to stay in conversation. She worked as a school counselor, the kind of person always asking how others felt, but never sharing much herself, unless she had something calculated to say. We dated for a couple of years, then tied the knot. It wasn't some fairy tale romance, but it worked. I was the steady, chill one. She was intense, animated. It felt like a healthy balance. The beginning wasn't bad. We had fun, laughed a lot, took short trips when we could, had those spontaneous nights where you drive around just to find something random to do. The chemistry was there. The connection was there. And then it wasn't. I don't remember a specific moment when it changed. Somewhere around our 3rd anniversary, things started to fade. Not slowly either. It was like someone just flipped a switch and walked away. One minute we were close. The next, I was wondering when I last felt her hand on my shoulder. I assumed it was job stress. She was dealing with a rough case involving a student who was suicidal. I understood it shook her. I gave her time. I tried to help, brought dinner home, cleaned without being asked, even rubbed her feet while she vented. I thought if I kept showing up, being there, she'd find her way back to me. She didn't. Weeks became months. Months became over a year. Her touches faded into casual pats. Our hugs started to feel like the kind you give coworkers. Sex? Maybe once every couple of months, and even then, it felt like a box she was checking, not something she wanted. I tried to bring it up once, gently. I didn't want to start a fight. I just asked, "Do you think we're okay? I feel like something's missing." She let out this tired sigh and said, "Ryan, I'm just exhausted all the time. I don't think about that stuff like guys do. It's not a big deal." I dropped it. But inside, I was starving. People assume guys only bring up intimacy because of sex. And yeah, sex matters. But it's not just that. It's about being wanted, being chosen. When the woman you married looks at you like a housemate with shared bills and a to-do list, it breaks something in you. I tried again months later, thought maybe I could reignite something. Took her to a fancy steakhouse, wore cologne I hadn't touched in years. Played the part, made her laugh, poured her wine, even joked like we used to. And for a second, I thought it worked. We came home, the air felt lighter, warmer. I kissed her in the hallway. She kissed me back for about 2 seconds, then pulled away and said, "I'm sorry, I just don't feel that kind of desire anymore." She said it like she was commenting on the weather. No apology in her tone, no softness, just cold fact. I stood there, stunned. I wasn't angry, just empty, numb. That sentence, it hit harder than any insult or fight ever could. It wasn't just that she wasn't in the mood, it was that she didn't feel anything at all. And she expected me to just live with that. I didn't argue, didn't beg, just nodded and went to sleep on the couch. That couch became my permanent spot. Quiet meals, cold silences, and then enter Mia, Lena's younger sister. She was 28, working in digital marketing, newly single after a long relationship ended. She needed somewhere to stay while she hunted for a new apartment. I wasn't thrilled about having someone else in the house, but I said yes. Lena was excited. She hadn't lived with her sister since college. It was nostalgic for her. Mia arrived like a storm, barefoot, loud, always with a playlist echoing through the living room. She was expressive, sarcastic, unfiltered, the complete opposite of Lena. She wore giant t-shirts like she never left her dorm years behind, ate cereal out of the box, talked through every movie. I kept my distance. She noticed the couch situation pretty quickly, threw me some sideways glances but didn't ask. Until one night. "You two always live like this?" she asked casually while grabbing a beer. I shrugged. "Lena's been tired lately," she scoffed. "She's been tired since she was 19. Always tired unless it was about her." I didn't respond. A few nights later, I got home late. Lena was already asleep. I reheated leftovers, sat alone in the kitchen, lights dim, no sound but the hum of the fridge. Mia came in wearing one of those long shirts, clearly nothing underneath, and poured a glass of water. She leaned against the counter, looked me in the eye and said, "So, she told you she doesn't feel desire anymore, huh?" I froze mid-bite. I didn't even ask how she knew. Sisters talk. I nodded. She tilted her head. "And what? You're just supposed to live like some monk now because she's done?" I didn't answer. Then she stepped closer, voice lower now, eyes fixed on mine. Then let me. I didn't move. My chest was tight, heart pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. Every alarm in my head was going off. This was Lena's sister. This was wrong. No gray area, no blurred lines. But the way she looked at me, not with pity, not like I was someone she tolerated, but like she saw me, really saw me, and for the first time in years, someone wanted me. I stood up slowly and walked out. Didn't say a word, just left her standing there in the kitchen. I stepped outside into the night and stood by the pool, staring at the water like it held some answer I couldn't reach. I stayed out there for an hour, breathing, grounding myself, trying to make sense of what had just happened. I didn't sleep at all. Not because I was afraid of what had almost happened, but because I couldn't ignore the fact that for the first time in years, I didn't feel invisible. That scared me more than anything else. I swear to you. I didn't plan for anything to happen. That moment in the kitchen, I walked away from it. My body wanted to stay, sure, but my mind screamed at me to leave. So I did. I made the right call. But here's the thing about temptation. It doesn't vanish just because you walk away once. It lingers. Especially when the one person who's supposed to want you hasn't looked at you with warmth in over a year. After that night, the tension between Mia and me changed. It wasn't uncomfortable. It was charged. Every look, every word, every silence. It all meant more. She didn't hide the way she felt anymore. And I stopped pretending I didn't see it. Lena, of course, noticed nothing. She barely noticed anything outside of her own stress anymore. She came home from work exhausted, dropped on the couch, scrolled through takeout apps, vented about her day, and then disappeared into the bedroom with the door closed, often by 9 p.m. No "how was your day?" No hug, not even eye contact sometimes. She wasn't a partner anymore. She was a presence I lived with, a person I used to love, who now felt like a stranger renting the other half of the house. Mia, on the other hand, started filling every emotional crack Lena had left behind. She cooked dinner once, just pasta and garlic bread, nothing fancy, but she set 2 plates at the table like it meant something again. She cracked jokes, asked me real questions, called me out on my silence, and she started dressing differently, not overly sexual, but deliberate. Tank tops that slipped slightly, no bra underneath, short shorts, always barefoot, always just close enough for me to notice. Then came the weekend that changed everything. That Friday, Lena left for a weekend spa trip in Sedona with her co-workers. Just a quick, girls-only getaway. She packed lightly, gave me a distracted wave from the doorway, and reminded me to feed the dog. No kiss, goodbye. No, I'll miss you. Just like any other day. Except now, the house was suddenly quiet. Just me, Mia, and 2 empty nights ahead. I should have left, gone to a friend's place, crashed at my cousin's. Anything. But I didn't. I stayed. When I walked through the door that night, something smelled amazing. Garlic, wine, tomato sauce simmering. Mia was in the kitchen barefoot, wearing another one of those long shirts that barely covered her thighs. She turned to me and smiled like we'd been planning this dinner all week. "Hope you're hungry," she said. I was. For food, for conversation, for the feeling of being seen again. We ate at the table, just the 2 of us. Pasta, wine, laughter. She made me watch some ridiculous reality show afterward, and I laughed more than I had in months. Not because the show was funny, but because I felt human again. Not ignored, not unwanted, just alive. Later, we moved to the couch. A movie played, but I couldn't focus on a single scene. My brain kept replaying that moment in the kitchen. The way she looked at me, the way she said, "Then let me." And now here we were again, sitting side by side, the air between us too heavy with things unspoken. Then she broke the silence. "Can I ask you something?" she said, not looking at me. "Sure. You don't have to answer if it's too much. But do you still think about her? About what it used to be like?" It was one of those questions you can't prepare for. I didn't know if she meant emotionally, physically, or just the past in general. But I told the truth. "Every day," I said. Not because I want to, but because I can't figure out where she went. The woman I married, I don't recognize her anymore. Mia nodded, her voice soft now. "I watch how she treats you. I sit at that table and want to scream. If I had someone look at me the way you still look at her, I'd never take it for granted." I couldn't breathe for a second. Her words landed hard. Too honest, too sharp. Then she leaned in. Not fast, not desperate. Slow, intentional. She reached up, placed her hand on my face and kissed me. For a second I froze. My mind shouted to stop. My body didn't move. And then I kissed her back. That was the moment. The line I said I'd never cross. And I crossed it. It wasn't wild or frantic. It wasn't the stuff of movies or guilty passion. It was quiet. Careful. Like 2 people who'd been holding themselves together for too long, finally letting go. There was no rush, no harshness, just something deep and soft and devastating. Like trying to repair something that had been broken for too long, using closeness instead of glue. Afterward, we didn't speak for a while. I sat on the edge of the couch, running my fingers through my hair, trying to find the edges of what I was feeling. I didn't respond. Mia rested her head gently on my shoulder and whispered, "I'm sorry." Not because I was angry, but because I didn't know if I was sorry. All I could feel was real, alive. I hadn't felt that way in so long. I barely recognized the sensation. I barely slept that night. Every small sound in the house made me flinch. The fridge motor kicking on, the dog shifting, the faint click of the AC thermostat. But I wasn't scared of Lena walking in. I was scared of what it all meant. Because deep down, I knew this wasn't just some one-time mistake. It was a turning point. The next day, Saturday, we didn't talk much. Not because it was awkward, more like we were both processing, turning things over silently in our heads. But the way she looked at me told me everything. She wasn't ashamed. She didn't regret it. If anything, she seemed even closer, more at ease. Like we were now part of some fragile secret truth neither of us had the words for. Then Sunday came, and with it, Lena. She walked through the door early that evening, dropped her bag near the entry, gave me a nod that barely counted as acknowledgement, and headed straight to the bedroom. 5 minutes later, I heard her get into bed. No hello. No, I missed you. No questions. Just silence and a phone screen glowing in the dark as she scrolled through her feed. And the strangest thing, for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel hurt. I felt free. Because that night, the truth settled in, heavy but clarifying. She had stopped choosing me a long time ago, and now, I had finally stopped choosing her too. They say when you tell the truth, you don't have to remember anything, and it's true. But no one warns you about the weight it carries once it's out in the open. After that weekend with Mia, I knew there was no going back. Not because of the kiss, not because of the intimacy, but because of what it revealed. It wasn't just about sex. That would have been simpler to rationalize. It was about connection, about the way she looked at me without judgment, about laughing without forcing it, about feeling like a person again, not a burden in my own home. I didn't feel the kind of guilt people expect after cheating. What I felt was pain, sharp, cold pain, not from crossing a line, but from realizing how far gone my marriage already was, how long I'd been lying to myself about it. When Lena came back that Sunday night, nothing on her end had changed. She walked in, tossed her shoes aside, and said, "There's leftover wrap in the fridge if you're hungry." That was her hello. She didn't look at me, didn't notice me. It was as if I wasn't even there. And for the first time, I didn't chase her. I didn't force a conversation or try to make her laugh. I just stood in the middle of my own living room and accepted it. We weren't really married anymore. We were just two people waiting for one of us to finally say it out loud. The days that followed were quiet. Not tense, just hollow. Like the lights were still on in a house no one lived in. Mia didn't act awkward. She gave me space, but we both knew the unspoken truth was filling the room every time we were in it. Then Wednesday came. I got home a little later than usual. Dropped my gym bag by the door. Lena was at the kitchen table. Her eyes were red, her mouth tight. My phone was in her hand. I froze. She didn't speak at first, just held the phone up like a police officer flashing a warrant. "I saw the text," she said quietly. On the screen, one message from Mia. "Last night felt like something I haven't felt in years. I hope you felt it too." And just like that, the pretending was over. There it was. No more walking around it, no more silent understanding. The truth was standing in the middle of the kitchen with us. I didn't move, didn't rush to explain or deny it. What was the point? "Yeah," I said simply. That was all. Her eyes widened. She waited for me to beg, to apologize, to fall over myself with excuses. But I didn't. "You slept with my sister, Ryan," she said, her voice cracking halfway through my name. I nodded once. I did. She pushed her chair back so hard it screeched against the tile. Her hands were shaking, her whole body taut, like she was holding in a scream. "How could you do that to me?" And maybe it was wrong, maybe it was selfish, but that question sparked something in me. I looked her dead in the eye and said, "You stopped touching me over a year ago. You mocked me in front of your friends. You made me sleep on the couch. You told me you don't feel desire anymore. You didn't ask how I felt. You didn't care. You just expected me to slowly disappear while you checked out of this marriage. And now you're angry that someone actually saw me." She looked stunned, like my words hit harder than the act itself. "You don't get to play the victim, Lena," I said, my voice calm but steady. "You left a long time ago. You just didn't pack your bags." She stormed into the bedroom and slammed the door. I slept on the couch again that night, but this time I wasn't hurt. I was clear. The next morning, Mia was gone. A note sat on the counter. She said she was sorry that she never meant to cause this kind of chaos and that she couldn't stay in the house anymore. She didn't say where she was going. I didn't reach out. Part of me wanted to. But another part knew this wasn't about her anymore. This was about me finally deciding to stop letting myself disappear. Later that week, Lena sat me down at the kitchen table. The same place everything had unraveled. She cried. Told me she'd felt disconnected for years. That she didn't know how to talk about losing her desire without making me feel small. That she thought I'd just wait forever. I didn't mean to hurt you, she said. I just didn't know how to fix it. I nodded slowly. I know, but you never tried. And then I said the words I'd been holding back for months, maybe even years. This marriage is over. You don't respect me. I don't trust you. And I definitely don't want to keep living like this. For the first time in forever, she begged. Really begged. Said she'd go to therapy, work on things, do whatever it took to fix us. But I was already gone. Not physically, I was still there in the house. But emotionally, spiritually, mentally, I had left long before. The only difference was now I finally admitted it out loud. A few days later, I filed for divorce. That was 6 months ago. I've moved into my own apartment now. Quiet, with wood floors, and a view of the city skyline. Duke, our dog, lives with me. Lena didn't even fight for him. Work is going well. I took on extra shifts at the gym and started leading boot camps on Saturdays. Being around people who push through pain reminds me that healing isn't something that just happens. It's a choice you make over and over again. Mia and I haven't talked since she left. I don't blame her. What we did was messy, impulsive, and wrong in so many ways. But I'll never forget what she gave me. A moment of clarity. A reminder that I'm still a man. Still capable of being seen, touched, wanted. 2 weeks ago, Lena sent me a text. Said she missed me, that she thinks about me every night, and that she didn't realize how broken everything was until I left. I didn't reply, because now I know who I am, and I'm done waiting around for people who forget. The silence after her message felt different from before. Heavier, but somehow freeing. I realized this wasn't just the end of a marriage, but the start of something new. A chance to rebuild myself without the weight of pretenses and loneliness. I'm learning what it means to be alone but not lonely. To be whole, not just half of a fading picture. Some days are hard. Some nights, the memories creep in. The good, the bad, the what ifs. But I'm holding on to the truth I found in the chaos. That love isn't just about being together, but about being seen, chosen, wanted. And if those things aren't there, then maybe it's not love at all. I'm not the man I was when I walked into that marriage, hopeful and naive. I'm someone who's been broken, yes, but also someone who started to put the pieces back together. And this time, I'm doing it for me. Claire, or Lena, as she calls herself now, might always be part of my story. But she won't be the chapter that defines me. Because now I'm writing the next part.